You guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, John, you'll let me know when we're ready to start.
Yeah, it's 5 minutes now. I think we can start. Then everything is recorded for somebody join later. They can see the recorded video.
Okay, awesome. So the first agenda item. So welcome. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming. We're excited and happy to have you. Thank you very much for the extremely productive meeting last week and for all the hard work leading up to that, especially by Mikhail and Emily and Adriano, preparing for last week's meeting. And then Frank, Gary, thank you very much for your contributions last week. We really appreciate it. So we have, hopefully everybody got the agenda today. I will put it in the chat here in a second, but this is a collective meeting of all of our members. There's a lot going on, a lot to prepare for the upcoming UN meetings. So with that, the first agenda item are the events coming up. We have the NSS SDC meeting, the 2 UN meetings, and then of course IAC, where else in Milan. So we're excited. So first is the NSS ISDC meeting. Adriano, you want to talk about the preparations for that? Can you guys hear him? Or I can't hear him.
I don't hear anybody but you.
Okay, so Adriana, did you want to? I assume that you're the only one I know of that's involved. Is anybody else involved in the preparing for the NSS meeting?
Okay. What I know is that we will have a session, a track in the Friday, 24 May, in the ISDC in Los Angeles, and that will be probably chaired by Mexico. But these news are old of more than 1 month, and I don't know if that work was confirmed. And so maybe Gary knows something more about that.
Not directly yet. There is going to be the Space Solar Power Symposium that starts Wednesday afternoon and goes through Thursday and Friday. There is a lunar track and a Space Ambassadors track that I'm aware of and participating in, and there is supposed to be multiple sessions that are supposed to have a tie-in to the 18th SDG activities, but I don't have any explicit information on the schedule on that. I'll look into it right now and see if I can bring something up, before the meeting's out.
Okay.
But I will. We'll be there, and we're bringing Tux, the telerobotic universal excavator. Working test bed.
Bucks. Okay. All right.
That's good. So yeah, maybe also Alfred and Carton would know something more, but they are not here. I didn't hear from Alfred in the last days, so I don't know if he will join this meeting. I know he's in Italy, is having many problems with his new house, so I'm not sure if he will join us or not. However, yeah, we will try to understand more in the next days. Okay.
I'm also. I can also check. So I'll see Bert this afternoon. If you guys know Bert, he's the membership director, managing director of NSS for membership. He operates the home office here. Their headquarters is here in Florida. I'll be seeing him this afternoon. So as you might know, you guys know what today is? Anybody? What's
No.
special about today? Okay, what's special about today besides us having this meeting with all these great, amazing minds from all over the world? This is 3, 2, 1 day.
3, 2, 1.
Yeah. It's 3, 2, 1. So we're having a celebration that I'm helping to put on right immediately after this meeting. I'm running to a celebration we're having for there's a gentleman, Ozzy, who helped get the area code for Florida 321. He fought for years to get the area code, so he's sort of a legend down here. We're having a big party for him in honor of his recent passing, celebration of his life. So it's 321 day. Last week was Pi Day, 314 day. Every day is a special day in space. But okay, so we'll circle back with I'll try to find out some information about when we still have a little time to prepare for that. And then actually the just so everybody knows, it's not even closed yet to, if you guys have papers that are relevant to your individual organizations, you still have time to submit. It's not until I think April 14th or something like that. Those are due. So anything that you guys should, if you're making the trip to come there, it doesn't have to be just for the 18th SDG session. It can be for the other sessions as well that you might want to present. Okay, so we have next on the, so that's that item taken care of. So next, so we have 2 virtual roundtable panels that we have planned. The first one is corresponding to Copus. We're scheduling for June 12th. The second one is September 13th. So I'll review the update that we have for the topics and the format for those that weren't there. We adjusted the format a little bit. I'll go through really, really quickly, but please stop me if you have any questions. So let me remove the paragraph markings. There you go. Okay. So hopefully everybody can see that. Okay. So I put in a nominal start time of 9 o'clock. Housekeeping, welcoming everybody, introducing the keynote speaker, then a quick keynote speaker. Then we have, is basically set up to have 1, 2, 3 panels in the morning. Then for the in-person event, we'll have a lunch, probably an hour and a half. And for the virtual, maybe none, just go straight through. And then we have panel 4 and panel 5 in the afternoon, nominally. Each one, again, nominally 1 hour. So broken down as such as this. So the coordinator organizer introduces the esteemed guest moderator. The moderator then gives a 5-minute framing for that particular topic, which we're going to go into here in a moment. Then we have interactive discussion among all the various panelists, around 35 minutes or so, 10 minutes for question and answer, then a 5-minute wrap up by the moderator and a couple minutes to transition over to the next panel. So then we wash and repeat 3 times in the morning, 2 times in the afternoon. That's the basic format. Open to suggestions on the format. Again, if we decide to have maybe fewer, we can have fewer panels and more people on each panel. It sort of depends how the topics wash out. We're going to talk about the topics. If we want to consolidate the topics more and have fewer panels, we can't go longer than an hour and 20 minutes for a session, but an hour is a nice time. I'm up for suggestions. So with any feedback on the panel format? Anybody?
I think it looks good.
Robert, sorry, the times you indicate there are US time?
Yeah, local time.
East Coast.
Local East Coast, where the event will be, New York time.
Okay, even for the virtual panel, we keep this.
That's a mistake. I'm sorry. Yeah, no. Virtual panel, that will be adjusted. There'll be local for wherever, local for Vienna. Yeah.
Okay.
I can do anything you want. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's local for Copus or local for the General Assembly, but we can shift however the group chooses. Okay. So I'll move down to here are the topics. And again, thanks mostly to Mikhail and Emily and Adriano for their suggestions on the topic. So I presented last week, we had a consolidated list, and then some were for the first event, some were the second, and we split that up now. So there's two. However, topic one, the introduction of the members, which we can choose to keep or not keep. We can have some discussion about that here in a moment. I repeated for both. But so the task is to, number one, determine whether these topics are appropriate for that session of the two sessions, that they fit better in the Copious versus the General Assembly session, number one. And number two is to consolidate these down to 5. I mean, we could do an additional panel, additional hour if you wanted, but I think that logistics, we want, it's better to have a fewer ones that are fresh and people are engaged than kind of drag on, but it's really up to the group. It's not that much of an issue on the virtual one because not everybody's going to listen to it all at the same time. They're going to naturally, it's going to be broken down into hour-long individual playlist so that people can listen to them. So it's not really an issue. And plus on the virtual one, you have an extra time for lunch. So you can put another one in there easily and easily do 6 or more if you wanted to, because not everybody has to sit, and nobody except the overall coordinator is going to be there for the whole time necessarily. But in-person one, we probably want to keep it to 5. But so the challenge is to, number one, make sure that these are the appropriate slotted for the right of the two events. Number two, seeing if we have the ability to condense and consolidate the high-level topics so that we get down to 5 or 6. And then within each topic, make sure that we're addressing the overall points. And then the next part comes to recruit people to participate. And this is partly to be informative to talk about the mission that we want to achieve, but also recruitment, right? We want to be able to use this as a tool to get more people till we can reach 100 and even more, 200, by having lots of opportunity for lots of people to participate and to have their opinions and or their positions of themselves or their organizations be heard. So we're going to be actively recruiting and seeking opportunities for all of you and all of our member organizations to somehow participate. So here are the, you guys are reading the first one here. So we have, so the first one is getting to know the people. So we could choose to have a time if we have enough people on, each person goes around and says who they are. Now, again, this is not necessarily panelists. They'll have the opportunity, but members, I would like everybody to know who our 100 members are, or 70 members, but hopefully 100 by then. So we want to try to encourage them. And if we have to take an hour to do that and each one gets 1 minute, I mean, that's a well, I think, in my opinion, that would be a time well spent because it engages them, not just us to learn about them, but engages them. But it's really up to the group. We have then the 2 and 3 talk about, which they should have been combined. I should have combined these into one panel, but it's talking about the approach that Adriano has in his vision.
Robert,
yes,
do you want to engage in questions as we go down through this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. One of the things that in the previous one, when we were talking about the organizational discussions, one of the most powerful and substantive retreats we've ever had with respect to the National Space Society, which has a 32-person board, was we held a meeting where the people that were present explained why they were actually there. And it was perhaps one of the most engaging, and substantive NSS board meetings we ever had, in the history of the organization. Going through and getting the different organizations to explain in their own voice why the 18th SDG is an important and substantive part of how it is that we engage, from whatever perspective they bring to the table. Not in an extensive soliloquy, but in a well thought out, statement in those regards, I think could be quite productive.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I said time well spent, and I mean this was mostly Mikhail and Emily's suggestion, but I think it's time well spent. Plus, it hooks people in. People love to talk about themselves, and if that's what gets them there, gets them involved, then we're going to do that. So I agree. And it does, it does have to be well moderated so that everybody gets a chance, and we keep it we keep it lively and on top.
We keep it going. We effectively have to, in a sense, kind of, if you will, almost, pre-edited isn't quite the right word. Orchestrated is perhaps the best word.
Yeah, well orchestrated, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. And part of that is and also for some people, I mean, some people. The nice thing about this format that we specifically designed this is that people that aren't necessarily as comfortable speaking, but they may have an important role, we want them to talk too, because having a conversation, they're not necessarily presenting. So we're having a conversation, but that also the ability to have a conversation and have it be interactive with the moderator and the person presenting, it gives you a chance to have a little bit better regulation on their timing, because there's more times to say, oh, that's a great point. Now, what does Joe think about that? And then we move on to Joe. For transitions, you get more opportunity for transitions. Where someone's standing at a proverbial podium, then it's harder to get the hook to get them.
Related to this, at one point we had to go through and give a presentation on the history of space in 15 slides. Okay. If each person speaking essentially had one slide, okay, one visual that they spoke to, from a timing standpoint, and an orchestration standpoint, that might be the ask. Okay, what's the one visual that you would put on the screen, whether or not it's a collage or an individual image, whatever, okay, that is most evocative of your position, and the paragraph that you have to say about the say.
And that's a great suggestion. We could exactly do that. We have time to do that, where we ask every organization to submit one slide, we put them together, and also that way people can see, even if they don't have time to speak to it and address it, it's part of the
point is it is a visual means of expressing, and you have text which can be anything that's in relationship with that image.
Yeah. Does any other people's comments or thoughts about that?
I think it's a good idea. As we have short videos of 60 seconds, we have a flyer, and we can have a single slide to be presented by each organization. Yeah, I think is in tune with all what we are trying to do. Yes.
Can I add to that as well?
Please.
Yeah, so I think it's a great idea, but given that it's also just 1 hour, I think it would be great if all of the organizations have that and can also be shared, subsequently. But I think you should pick, a subset of that, because like 70 organizations, even with one minute each. Everybody normally goes over. So I think I would recommend that you just pick a subset of those that will actually present, and then have like either a repository of those particular slides somewhere that people can actually access.
You know, it's hard to be the arbitrator of that. I agree it's a logistical challenge, but even if we had to break it up into 2 sessions, maybe one in the morning, one in the afternoon, just to vary things, I don't know. But it's a great, I don't know, it's hard to be the arbiter of that and leave someone behind.
The neat thing is we don't have to. We can be great curators and editors of all the content that we receive. Somebody doesn't turn something in,
yeah,
it's on them.
I don't think you're going to get 100. You'll be lucky to get half. It's a good problem to have. And we'll have a clock on the screen, and they'll be guilted and peer pressured into, and there'll be a buzz or something. We'll make it fun, and we'll make it. But if we keep them to 60 seconds, we're probably not going to get more than half the 70 or 80. So that's 40. I think it's manageable.
Sorry,
Andrew?
I think it would be very, very good to have to ask for the organization to send their slide before the meeting.
Yeah, of course, 100%.
So we can have a gallery on the website. We can have a gallery showing everything.
We can flip
them. But I don't believe that we will have 70 or 80 presenters in the meeting, because this is a natural selection. We don't need to make a selection, I think.
That's correct. I agree. Yeah. I mean, Emily, you're right.
Turkey. We will have 30. I don't know, but 30 or 40, it would be a good number if it would be.
Yeah. I mean, you may have more slides. People might say, "Hey, here's my slide. I can't come. I can't make it, but here's my slide." So it's sort of like when you invite people for your wedding. You want them not to come because you don't want to pay for them, but you want them to send a gift.
If you can moderate it, sure.
My wedding, I only invited people that were out of town. So hoping they wouldn't come.
I think that slide for one organization shall be as a minimum. And 60-second video, it shall be as additional material, broadening the material presented on the slide. It is my opinion.
Okay, Andrzej. Okay, thank you. Andrzej Kotarski is from Poland.
Very nice.
The Polish space agency.
I wouldn't have guessed that with Kotarski. I wouldn't have guessed that. I thought I would. I figured, Latin or Spanish or something. But great to see you, sir. Okay, so we'll work on the call for that, and we'll work to get as many. And if we do get more than 60, then Emeline has to cut them down. And all right. So let's go on to the high-level topics here. This is for the virtual event for Copious. We have space resources, civilian-led space development and astropolitics, orbital debris, space law, space security. So those are the finalists from the smaller group for day 1. Just to frame it all, let me go over to day 2 in case you want to pull any over and do some horse trading. So we have the space priorities throughout the different UN member organizations, not our organization, but UN member organizations. So, Emeline specifically talked about we may not be as aware of the emerging and developing countries, which is an area she nicely focuses upon. We have space settlement. We have space for living and working, space for peace, and sustainability. So those are the high-level topics. So first of all, are there any that should be swapped or moved to a different day of the 2 days? So these were chosen to somewhat align with the objective and the topicalness of those UN events. and number two, to naturally have an order that that follows. So, what are people's thoughts? Any that should be moved before we look at consolidating?
I think that it is missing a topic on space transportation, which is one of fundamental top issues for sustainable space development. Do you agree? I don't see it on a slide on this table.
Where, and you propose it goes on which of the two events, the Copious or the General Assembly event? Andrzej?
One moment.
Anybody? Okay.
Sorry,
Adriano, go ahead.
Can I?
Yes, please.
Okay, go on.
No, the B04, Space for Living and Working. I think it would be better, the title, Living and Working in Space.
Okay.
It is not clear.
I was trying to be cute and start them all out with space. So you can be the anomaly. That's fine. All right. Thank you.
For the the fourth item or fifth item down there, AI tools and robots. Okay,
Yes.
What's particularly topical these days really is how we orchestrate symbiosis. Frameworks for shared control between robots, humans, and advanced autonoma. So you're going through and orchestrating symbiosis. Is basically you start off by talking about where you want to get to. Okay, and setting it up as a trade or a dichotomy between human expansion and 18th century and prior economics associated with colonialism seems like an invitation to let you and him fight as opposed to talking about where it is we're trying to get to. There's a broader problem where when we talk about commercial space, even those that speak the same language don't necessarily agree, what that means. Develop, motivating and understanding on that, is I think the spirit of what you are trying to get at, with your human expansion versus colonialism.
May I please add to this? I believe that the whole AI tools and robots should be kind of separated from this dichotomy, expansion versus colonialism, and there should also be simulation as part of AI tools, simulations, robots.
Yeah, I was going to say similar. Yeah, they're kind of I see where they overlap a little bit, but they're so important in their own right. Each they could be their own full day each. Yeah,
I concur.
Okay, I have one thing for B03. After 100% reusable spy launch vehicles, why not reusable space transportation? Because for space settlement, we need sustainable space transportation. What is consistent with UN SDGs on sustainability goals? Okay, do you agree?
I apologize. I had a little trouble understanding the very first part because I wasn't focused. Where were you proposing to put transportation?
I'm proposing in second line of the point B03 to change from reusable launch vehicles for reusable space transportation, because we have not only launch phase, but also interorbital and on-orbital transportation.
Exactly. Yes. Very good.
We need to see in broader context, not only for the launch like SpaceX. We are talking about reusable space transportation, which will be operating in an airline manner.
Yes.
Yeah, good.
That is the ultimate goal, to reduce space debris, unused and depleted rocket stages, and also kick stages, and so on, and also unused space stacks after its operational life. We need to reduce creation of space debris, which would be not only present on orbits near Earth, but also on in this lunar space, this Martian, and so on and so on. I think that you catched my idea in this topic.
Yes, very good. Thank you so very much for pointing that out.
Just to add one small thing about that. The topic of the space debris is well represented and discussed in the June 12 meeting that is focused on COPOS General Assembly in June. So we tried to choose different topics that the topics that are more interesting for COPOS and the topics that are more interesting for the United Nations. But
okay, also, Adriano, I agree, but we need to
forget something important. Yeah, you're right.
We need to see for the space transportation not only for launch, but also in other phases during transit between two celestial bodies or operating near it. Okay.
For that,
that is why I indicated that we need to focus, that we need not only reusable launch vehicles, but also we need to reusable space transportation, which includes all the transportation,
sure.
Including launch, interorbital, and operating from the orbit to the surface of the celestial bodies and back. Okay.
Excellent. Good.
So so should we at least put these on the same day then? Should we move and move space up to the first day?
Obliterated the cover. Yeah.
Is this really is living and working in space really should we combine the topic of space settlement and living and working in space as one topic, and transportation then therefore comes out of its own, and move it to the day with space debris?
In my opinion, no. It's better to keep two different topics, because why? Because I think we should stress the points about life and health protection from cosmic radiation and simulated gravity and green environment in space habitats, because these unfortunately these topics are a bit neglected in all the discussions. And I think one of the key points of the 18 SDG is exactly to if we are serious and about space settlement, we have to tackle these problems, the protection of life and health, because there is very much difference between making an exploration mission that can last a few months and living and working in space. So if we are about that, we need to
I agree.
To emphasize this problem of life and health protection.
I agree, but even more so. So the reason I was suggesting that was just because of the name alone. Living and working and settlement kind of sound the same, but I think though that we should therefore, I mean, I agree with you so much. I think this should be named more topically, having to deal with health and safety, or health, health, something that really hits it, health, because this implies health, but that's only if you're living, working for a long time. It's kind of implied, but I think that the title should address it more strongly.
I was thinking more about the logic of the discussion. If we put together transportation and producing fuel and moon mining and asteroid mining and protection of health and life, people will probably discuss more on the transportation and all of these topics, and the other topic will be a little bit neglected. That's why I prefer to keep two different panels, if we agree, of course. This is only my idea.
I agree with that. Henk, you were going to say something, please, sir?
Yes. So when we say space, do we say everything that's outside of our atmosphere? Is that the definition of space? Because it sounds a little bit how can I say, myopic. Like living in orbit is one thing. Living on the moon and Mars is kind of a different thing.
Yeah.
And so if we say space is everything outside Earth, it just, I don't know, makes us seems like we're thinking small.
Okay, in my opinion, we shall to keep up with Outer Space Treaty, which defines outer space as space above Earth's atmosphere. Yeah, it includes celestial bodies and outer space between them, celestial bodies.
So you could say living and working.
It is the answer for your question. If you want to differentiate planetary surface, asteroid surface, and so on, it is all outer space and celestial bodies in it. We need to be consistent with law definitions, addressing outer space issues. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, because we don't have enough time to have two separate different panels on near Earth and beyond. I just to interject, and my chief rocket scientist here at World Innovation Network just reminded me that what I pejoratively call the International Near Earth Space Station.
Yeah, of course, there are different conditions, because if you are in Earth orbit, in low Earth orbit or middle or geostationary, there is a certain amount of radiations. But if you go outside of an Allen belt, then the radiation is higher, and if you go to the moon, it's different, and if you go to Mars, it's even much different. But I think this is the topic, no? The protection of life and health, considering the different conditions, because space is not all the same, of course. So, but the question by Henk was, should we talk about living in space, or living in outer space, or living outside Earth? I think maybe this was your question, Henk, or?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that living in low Earth orbit at 0G is very different from living on the moon or Mars. It's you have resources on the moon and Mars. You don't have resources in quote unquote space. You're completely dependent on resupply from Earth. There's no such thing as us building a self-sustaining colony in a low Earth orbit.
Frank,
okay,
what would you say about living in solar system?
It is still outer space. I think that we shall keep short titles, which will be containing all conditions related to living in outer space, including Mars, Moon, space colonies, and asteroids.
Then say outer space. If you want to be consistent, you should be. It should say outer space everywhere to be consistent.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So do we want, so we agree that space is all of space, including the International Almost Space Station. Do we want to hit this harder and say, go back to hit this harder and say health, maintaining health in outer space, or health hazards in outer space, really scare people, something like that?
I think maintaining health sounds good.
No, I would prefer to leave the previous title, living and working in outer space, because there are, as Henk said, there are also other conditions. That is the supply, the resources that you can use.
You're watering down what you said you didn't want to, because the resources is they relate to, but if you really want to get to the health issue, it's not. It's the resources is, and you talk about supply chains and resupply and then you have manufacturing as a whole.
There is the food also. Growing food in space is another of the subtopics of this topic. It's very important. The food.
Okay, but it is also includes living and working in space. It is food in space. It is one of a need needed to be fulfilled for space settlers and other person working in outer space. Not only food. We can, if you want to go deeper, you can think about psychological needs, social needs, and so on and so on.
That is ergonomics and yes.
Yes, it is a very broad topic. We need to be aware that it is very broad material, but we need to address it shortly and understandable for audience. If we are targeting broad audience, yeah.
So I would suggest that it should be orbital space colonies or orbital near Earth, or it said near Earth, Moon, Mars, planets. Somewhere it should say orbital if we're talking about 0G.
I think that space colonies will be sufficient, because when we are talking about Moon, Mars, and other planets like maybe Jovian moons or other celestial bodies, we are referring to the surface.
That's what I'm saying. Orbital
planet.
space colonies. That's fine.
But space colonies, for my understanding, they are communities living on orbital platforms, orbital interplanetary platforms.
I would avoid the word colonies, because in several discussions we understood
bad
that
word,
not a nice
colonization. Yeah,
maybe settlements.
Okay.
Maybe settlements will be more. It will be more fitting in this. Yeah.
I disagree. I think the original word of colonization has to do with going to places where there is nobody.
Agree.
That's the original colonization. And now it's taken on, because we didn't recognize the people that already lived there as being human beings. Colonization has taken over and become, how can I say, invasion and subjugation. But I mean, the original...
Guys, we went through this once before.
Yeah, we did.
We agree not to use that term because of its impact on some people, even though we may think it's an okay term. It's radioactive for a lot of people in the
George Washington University, named after the founding father of the United States, who was the president of the first original colonies, got rid of its mascot that it's had since its creation. It's no longer, they used to be called the Colonials, but now they're not. They're just called the George Washington.
Okay, point taken. Let's make it settlements. I agree.
Sorry. Okay, so this is a good discussion. So are we going to keep it living and working in outer space? Is there a consensus to keep that title?
Yep.
Okay. All right. No, okay. So, and I appreciate people actually reading what my notes here. And these are just notes. These aren't necessarily going to be what's definitively locked in there. But I'm just taking stream of consciousness notes. So, but I appreciate people looking at it and making sure that I'm capturing what I'm trying to say. So thank you very much. So
definition
now,
of outer space, is that what we're saying there? It says definition of space.
I guess we already addressed that. I mean, it was we said it's whatever the treat as
Okay,
Andrzej.
fine. Then we don't need it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it was an internal. Yeah. Now we do this as outer. Now, okay. But these two are distinct and separate still. Outer space settlements or settlement and living, working outer space. They're still separate.
I don't know.
I mean, maybe the topics are fine to be separate, but then the titles have to be more delineated. I mean, as I was saying, one, you're talking about health, and I agree that so much, but you could say everything is connected somehow to the human health. I mean, including transportation. If you're transportation, you're creating debris so you can get resupply missions and get food. So in some ways, you could say you could carry that thread to include everything. At some point, you got to say, well, maybe this bubble of the human. I don't know. It's really up. It's up to you guys. We can come back to it if you like. But yeah, there's some overlap here. At least the title. We can choose.
I tell you what was my intention defining these two topics.
Please.
When discussing about space settlement, the relevant discussion is about where to settle, on planets or moon surface, or on a model orbital habitats, and which are the key strategic steps that we have to go, because the first one was reusable rockets, and that this is happening, fortunately, thanks to a few brave entrepreneurs. This is happening. So we are going to have fully reusable transportation space vehicles. So this is the next step. The next step, as Jeff Grayson said already in I think 2017 at the ISDC, Jeff Grayson say it's very important to target to produce fuel in space, because when we will produce fuel in space, then all the cost of any space mission will be decreased of one or more magnitude. So this will be the next strategic step. And of course, cislunar economy, all of what is included in the concept of space expansion into space, civilian space development, space settlement, and so on. While when we discuss living and working in outer space, this is more an anthropological discussion. No? It is about how will humans live over there, and how they will work, how they will feel, and all these kind of things. And so the health and the ergonomics and everything, and to imagine a real life, a real normal life in space. So I think these are two different. They are connected, but they are different. And they are worth to have their specific place for discussion. This was my idea.
Yeah, no, and definitely that came out in the topics, and that's why I was saying, but human and logistics. I think your logistics is what this is mostly, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, where building, the supply chain. Supply chain includes the products, the route, the fuel, transport mechanism. It's all part of the logistics space supply chain. I mean, it might be actually cool if I mean, now it's no one knew what it was, but because of COVID, now everybody's sensitive to supply chain, and they realize like that's a lot. That people took it for granted. They would go to the grocery store or the 7-Eleven and things magically appeared, and now people have a lot more appreciation of the complexity with scarcity issues, and then we had issues with disruption in the transport mechanisms because of health of the workers or treaties or security issues. All of those affected the supply chain. So maybe it invokes this level of complexity if we say supply chain or logistics. I'm just putting it out there, but it's up to the group what you decide.
Okay,
So,
are you talking about space logistics?
Well, I'm saying, yeah, that's what I'm proposing that that's what this really is, part of the economics and logistics. That would be a title for somehow weaving it into this maybe addition to what we have here, the logistics of settlements or something like that. I'm just throwing it out there.
Okay, we need to be aware that creating circular logistics, which includes also reusability on each stage of transportation, transporting logistical goods, I think it is a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, the Jeff Bezos field. Amazon on the moon.
Yeah. I mean, he just had this huge rocket and he just put it back. We saw it. I mean, it is legit ginormous. He just put it back in and he brought it out. So, all right. So is there somewhere we can weave logistics into this title?
I think that because logistics, I remember talking about logistics when sometimes some people talked about logistics in transportation and other talked about logistics transportation in logistics. Yeah, when we are talking about outer space settlements, we are talking about logistics, which includes also reusable space transportation. In this context, it is right. Look, we are considering this. Yeah. Yes, logistics also transportation, reusable one at all stages.
Also
not only.
Also includes storage, includes.
Yes. Yeah. We are talking about hubs, which include storage space, and also spokes, which includes the transportation vehicles, which are transporting goods between them.
Yeah.
It is classical the transportation network.
Okay. So we'll call this logistics of outer space settlements or just outer space logistics?
Outer space settlements is fine, but logistics, it is one of key elements for its development. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't put the logistic in the title.
Outer space settlements is fine, but logistics shall be included in it. It also includes ISRU, which decreases mission costs, includes also reusability of transportation vehicles, and also gives it reducing of space debris and other things, because to be sustainable, outer space settlements needs to function in closed cycles, yeah, including materials, including transportation, and so on.
Circular economy can be added.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I think Mikhail want to say something from.
Yes, please. Go ahead, Mikhail. We can't hear you, sir. Oh, yeah, okay, we'll come back to you. All right, so I want to make sure that we only have, in the time we have, 1 hour, a half hour left, 30 minutes. I want to make sure that we address the other items as well. So I'm going to just green these because we sort of got to these. I'm going to jump back here to copious. So the item number 4 here, we have space resources, civilian-led space development and astropolitics, space debris, space law, space security. So we want to get to 5 or 6, we could do 6 topics. So what are here are people suggesting that maybe we combine? I guess law and security overlap in some ways, but some ways they don't. Any that should be deferred back and merged back into General Assembly topics.
Robert, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
So I first wanted to offer you to switch places AO3 and AO2. The logic is to first explain the general approach to the UN process and then to explain how 18th SDG process works, but maybe you just combine them in one. Explain the logic and then what we do. So to save the...
I was saying at the beginning, I was proposing to combine them just because of the time.
Yeah, let's combine them.
Okay, so now, and what the title should be, I'll just add, for now, as a working title, you and Emeline can suggest, but for now, we'll just combine the title as well for now. Thank you very much. Anything else?
No, I just will a recommendation for our discussion today.
Yes.
Just to I remember that we also have to talk about the 60 seconds video and to the flyer at least. Then I understand that this discussion about the panels is very important and useful because we can refine the abstract of each panel, and it's important. So if we feel that this discussion is not completed today, and I believe we should have maybe another half an hour, not more, for today, we can go ahead tomorrow if we want, if we think that we don't resolve all the doubts today. So, Robert, sorry, go ahead. Just
Definitely, yeah. I think we should go on to the other topics, and the time for the next meeting is open to discussion, of course. I mean, one day may not be enough for people to clear their schedule, but I guess I don't know what people's schedules are. But here's the other topics. We do want to talk about the promotional materials. Here, item number 2, increasing the coalition and funding. So we have a lot to talk about. So let's I'll tune this up. I'll send it out.
And also, sorry, one more thing. I don't know if it is in the agenda. Milan, the IAC Congress in Milan, and that we are trying to get a booth, but I don't know at which point we are in the discussion with the organizers. So I think we also have to say something about that today.
Well, you're on the topic, so we can jump to that if you want to address that right now. Is everybody aware of where we are with that? Booth? We're right there. We're right at that's what's next on the agenda is the booth.
Okay, yeah, we have discussions, that are underway with the IAC exhibition folks, both in terms of a minimum presence and a broader one. There's a presentation that will be going in today in answer to the last questions that we got from the IAC folks. They asked for a specific proposal, basically what what I wanted to go through, and if you'd like to go into the details. I can show you what we've got so far, but the bottom, if I can share my screen for a moment.
Be able to grab it.
All right. I'm working on it right now, and we're moving this to the appropriate location. Okay. So right now we've got our going into it. In terms of the alignment, right now the IAC 2024 theme is responsible space for sustainability, which links up with the articulated worldview in their presentation material, where our 18th SDG space for all on Earth and beyond, it links up with the worldview that we've articulated in terms of space development and sustainability of development are strictly interconnected. To start developing beyond Earth is key to relieve our planet's environment from the burden of industrial development, reduce pollution, and favor wildlife. Space is a new variable that offers options for functionally unlimited energy, material resources, and the ability to build habitable environments. Space can afford us the time to become the best stewards of our home planet, the environments we create, and life as we come to understand it. I think that, there's a fairly reasonable articulation of the alignment in those regards. What we're asking for is up to 36 square meters of island walkthrough, floor space, and presentation area. We want to be able to showcase nonprofit organization, space development, and sustainable development efforts. I'm envisioning the pull-up displays for each sponsor, providing for spaces providing for magazine distribution, for example, at Astra, special reports, for example, the State of Space Solar Power 2024, which will be published by the National Space Society by then, various space policy briefs that different entities might have, other project handouts, provisions for having lightning talks, perhaps panel discussions, some mixed media presentations, branded swag giveaways, exhibit floor, social hour beverages and theme snacks, music, performance, and other art. The challenges that we face with this is limited conventional exhibit spaces still available. Larger spaces are cost prohibitive for nonprofits. The links between nonprofits, commercial, university, and government sectors need to be drawn out. The basis for cooperation, collaboration, competition is beyond the scope of a typical individual entity booth. The space can be shared with lounge seating, table seating, high tables, power-up stations, computer kiosk, and other non-standard areas. The goal is to interest, inform, and provide paths for further engagement. The fact that this can be done, is not a it's not a fantasy in those regards. There is an established basis, for it. This was an example of what was done for the IAC 2019 in Washington, D.C. And it turns out that there were individual tables in the parameter in the actual space that was allocated was double this. There was an additional 18 square meters that were added to this that was carved out of the exhibition space for us on a special cooperative basis and we ran a whole series of different sponsor displays on this cislunar marketplace monolith projection screen with a 20,000 lumens projector. So this is where we're heading with this at this point. It's not clear that they're necessarily going to go for it, but we have a basis to show alignment. We have a basis for them as a consequence to recognize that this is different from a normal exhibitor in the exhibition space, and that it is worthwhile of some special concessions or considerations in those regards. And there's the flexibility of integrating it with other spaces that they were planning on having anyway. Yeah, okay. And no guarantee that they'll say yes, but if we don't ask, we'll certainly never get there. So that's that's what working with Adriano and anyone else that's interested, that's what I intend to turn in today.
I apologize if I missed it. You're asking also, I mean, for price concession.
Yes,
lower the,
absolutely.
Yeah,
Basically,
obviously.
we would be offering up an honoraria, a modest, payment for each of the participating organizations, and that they would essentially, that would be somewhere north of what a standard 9-meter booth would be. Okay, and that we can go through and come up with a rationale and a design for up to 4 times that space.
Yeah, the only thing I recommend is that we have to be quick because
it has to go out today. My apologies, I've had some issues, not the least of which I promised material that it proved a challenge for me to find, but I did find it. Okay, and I will I'm going through and this afternoon I'll iterate it with anyone else that wants to be a part of it, and we'll get it turned in.
Yeah, I'll
okay,
take a look.
great.
The 3-2-1 event, but send it my way, and I'll try to take a look at it. But don't wait for me.
One of the other things is that until they needed to go through and get to the point where they figured that they had sold all the big things that they were going to sell. Okay, and then they overlay that with the non-sale space, okay, and try and fit it in. And so we'll basically be a just in time entry in those regards. It's not like they don't know that we're coming. We have to go through and be able to present it in a way that they can accept it.
Okay, so no, I think your slides are well done, beautiful, Gary. So I hope we can deliver it today or tomorrow. Yeah.
My goal is to be able to get it out before my close of business.
Excellent, good. So good that
what's your close of business?
My close of business is 2 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time.
Awesome.
Officially, if I'm up later than that, I'm in danger of being on the couch.
Got it. Okay, I agree. All right. You're a slacker if you wait till 2, if you go to bed that early. All right. So thank you very much. So we have 15 minutes left. Mikhail, would you like to discuss the great work that you and Adriano and Emeline are doing on the promotional materials, especially the video, and then Adriano can address the flyer, or Emeline can address the flyer. Or you can address the videos?
Yeah, I'll try to be quick. Can you hear me well?
Yes, very well.
So the idea of the videos, it's a promotional material, set of promotional materials with 3 main goals. First, to explain and promote the 18th SDG course in general, sustainability, space sustainability, relation of 18th SDG to other 17th SDG, all in this one point. Second, promote every coalition member. And third, get new members, grow the coalition. These are short videos, 16 seconds or shorter, so that they can fit into the real format, so that they can be viewed by many people. They usually circulate wider. Once they're prepared, SRI or Space Renaissance or key organizations circulate them. Every member shares and likes to increase circulation. They can also be free to post themselves. I volunteered to make those from any input any coalition member, any person can give me. It can be freshly recorded videos. It can be links to your old videos where you think a 60-second message can be squeezed out. I'll be happy to make them, throw back to anyone for editing if needed, and then provide to Adriano, who will then publish them on SRI social media. And we have three samples, Emeline, myself, and Adriano. They can be used as samples so people understand what they're all about. But I think we should not restrict anyone to a particular message or format. Anyone should feel free to deliver any message they wish in line with the main cause of the 18th SDG. That's all.
No, but we can show the three examples, maybe.
Maybe one, or people can watch them on the SRI YouTube channel if they want.
Yeah, but it's important to see what we are talking about now.
Adriano, can you share? Because I cannot share from...
Yes, I will. Just a moment. Oh. Shorts. Okay. So I'm starting from the nicest one, that is Emily. Just a moment.
Shame, it's great.
The existing United Nations Sustainable Development Goals cover critical areas
you have to share.
action and education. But we also think that space holds the key to addressing many of our global problems.
Adriano,
we cannot see it. Adriano, we cannot see it.
I'm sorry.
Space is about our future.
Yes,
I actually have to share the screen.
It's about addressing the challenges we face right here on Earth while ensuring an abundant future for generations to come. That's why we're launching the Space UN SDG campaign. In collaboration with the Space Renaissance Institute, the National Space Society, and over 100 organizations, we're advocating for a dedicated UN SDG for space. Why? Because sustainable development ensures our future and means equal opportunity for all. Join us, be part of the movement. Together we can ensure a bright future, not just for a few, but for all of humankind. Space is our final frontier. Let's make it sustainable. Let's make it ours.
So this was this is Mikhail.
Those rich people who spend money on the private jets and super yachts and mansions and space tourism, they waste our planet's resources. I hear this a lot, and I disagree with the space tourism part. First, space industry is still in development and needs a lot of money. And space tourists, commercial space tourists, they provide this money as free funding for the industry. Second, space is still hard, risky. And these people, they should not be even called tourists. They are explorers, pioneers. They pave the way for those who will follow. So we're interested in them traveling more, not less. Idea Space Travel joined the coalition of 70 organizations supporting the sustainable development of space and sustainable development of Earth, and promote adding sustainable space development as 18th Sustainable Development Goal to the United Nations Program of the Development of Our Planet and People until 2030. Those rich people...
And
to be truly sustainable, our civilization needs to achieve the enormous resources, energy, and space of our solar system. Before 2030, meaningful steps must be made to ensure the full sustainability of human development. The 17 Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations 2030 Agenda are a system of universal humanist goals. We propose now to add an 18th Sustainable Development Goal to the 2030 Agenda. Only by expanding the domain of life into space, we can fulfill the 17 SDGs on Earth. Space Renaissance International and the National Space Society, in partnership with 71 space advocacy organizations and universities, have presented the proposal of a resolution for an 18th SDG focused on civilian space development to the state parties of the UN Committee for the Peaceful Use of Outer Space, the COPUOS. This is our commitment, and we invite everybody to join the coalition of the Space 18 SDG co-promoters. Pat-Dahlstrom. To be truly...
Okay. So these are the... These are the short videos, 60 seconds exactly. And I can say that Mikhail is making a beautiful work, excellent work in cutting all the dead times in order to shrink our videos to 60 seconds. And also he makes the necessary formatting, adding the logos and everything. So it's very simple. So please, everybody, make your 60 seconds video, send it to Robert, to Mikhail, and he will work it and create things like this one. Then not only they will be on our YouTube, on the SRI YouTube, but each organization will be welcome to publish themselves these videos, because you know, is the butterfly effect, no? The more there will be in the world, and the more our message will circulate and become viral. So it's very important to do this kind of thing.
And also, I want to add, not necessarily new videos. You can send me your old videos, maybe long videos, and point out what message you want me to emphasize and pull that out. Even you can send me the links in the worst case scenario for me, and I'll just do my magic. I'll appropriate that video from internet and I'll edit it anyway. We agree. So any format, any orientation, for as long as I can then crop it into this vertical format which you saw.
Excellent. Another thing I will say, we didn't discuss all of the proposed panels for the UN session, the UN panel in September 13, and for the COPOS panel in June 12. Today, we focused more on some of the panels that are concerned about life in space and space settlement and so on. But we also have other sessions that are focused on Earth, on what expanding civilization into space will make for Earth. So I think we don't have time to cover everything today, but we can meet tomorrow at the same time and finish, complete the work, I think. If we agree, we can reschedule for tomorrow and go ahead.
So short time we have, let's first pick a time for tomorrow. So does any objection to Adriano's suggestion that we meet same time tomorrow to continue the work on these topics?
I don't have an objection, but I do have a conflict. I think
better time for
it would be meeting at 1 o'clock. Is that right?
Yes.
Eastern time?
What time would be work for you, sir? If any.
Probably, yeah. I could probably do it at 2 o'clock.
Yeah,
Okay.
2 would be easier for me. I have a class
An hour later.
2.
An hour later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not 17 UTC, but 18 UTC. Correct?
That's correct. All right. So 18. So all right. Okay.
Good. At this point, maybe we can also talk about the flyer tomorrow.
Yes. By that time, I'll have a chance to do the updates that I promised to, and Emily had some suggestions that we want to incorporate. So it's we dodged that bullet. Okay. So tomorrow, the topics for tomorrow will be where's it back up here? Promotions here. So the topics tomorrow will be the flyer. Tomorrow is in blue. So we'll talk about the flyer. We'll talk about item number 3, which relates to all the previous items, because they're part of the purpose of the 2 roundtable summits are to increase the coalition and to get universities involved. We'll talk about, Adriano will talk about some of his ideas for the funding, but not until we've gone and looked at the program and continue the discussion that we had, looking at consolidating and making sure, I mean, first of all, we want to make sure that they're comprehensive, and then we want to look at combining them into 5 for each of the 5 or 6, no more than 5 or 6 for each of the 2 days. So that's a discussion. So in the 5 minutes we have, any questions about anything that's been discussed today? For any, does Gary know everybody that wants to receive a copy of his proposal? Anybody else? I know me, Adriano.
Should I send it to the list, or how do you want me to do that? Either that, or I can either send it to the list, or people can just add me, add your names into the chat. What's easier?
I recommend you send it to the list, because there might be people who are not in this that are still interested.
Okay.
Yes, to the group, to the big group. The Google group, the big one.
If I'm authorized to send to it, so be it. We'll go over that.
Any questions for Mikhail about videos? His excellent work on the videos.
Okay. For the working materials, we have the public outreach committee group, that is a smaller group, that is myself, Mikhail, Robert, Gary, Frank, and maybe 10 people. So if we want to share working materials, it's better to send it to the small group. I will put the address in the chat now, because maybe.
Or you're addressing that to Gary. You're telling Gary to send it to that group instead of a larger group. Is that what you're saying, sir?
I'm sorry. Are you asking something to me, Robert?
Yes. Is that were you addressing your comments to Gary, saying that Gary should send it to the smaller, the POC group? Is that what you're suggesting?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll tell you what. I'm going to send it to Adriano,
including the videos,
and,
including the short videos.
Iterating it, and he can share it to whatever lists he cares to. Okay.
Right. Yeah, I was going to suggest that. Yeah. So Adriano, so he's going to send it to you, and then you distribute it how you see fit.
Okay. Of course, everything coming to me, I will share it with the committee group, and or to the people, or delivery to the people that is interested. Like, could be Mikhail, could be Robert, or so. However, I will put now the address in the chat of the address of the public outreach committee. Sorry, I have to send it to the group. Okay, so this is the public outreach, and the big committee. The big one is just a moment. Okay, and this is the big group where all the 70 organizations are. So okay. The small one is for organizational top items, and the big one is for sending a message to all our partners, invitations and everything.
Which I think we'll reserve for you to do. Okay, so we're going to just go around, make sure that everybody had a chance to say anything that might have been left out. If you have any items for tomorrow's meeting that need to be added to the agenda, either tell us now or send an email to Adriana or me at any time. within the next hour or so we can get those on the agenda. So we'll go around. Mikhail, anything to add?
Robert,
yes, sir.
Will you take care of circulating minutes of today and the action items that can be captured in our discussion?
Yeah. As long as
I will send to you the full transcript and the chat.
Yes.
And the video, the recorded video, of course, will be shared with everybody.
Yes, I won't be back in the office until 9 p.m., but I'll work Gary's hours till 2 to make sure it's out, because I'm leaving right now to 3-2-1 day, and then we have another robotics event. But so first of all, most importantly, thank you very much for everybody. Gary, anything else real quick?
No, I'm good. I'm working away.
Mikhail, thank you very much for your hard work. Anything?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay, Emily, thank you so much for your great videos and all your contributions on all the flyer and everything. Anything, Dad? Okay, so she's good. Frank, thank you very much. We appreciate it. We'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Anything for now?
Robert, you're an excellent herder of cats.
For me, we are done. Okay.
That's my middle name. So last word, Adriano. Anything?
Okay, thank you very much, everybody, for joining and chatting and organizing this thing. And see you tomorrow at Astra.
Okay, we're right on time. Thank you very much. God bless everybody.